Hey guys, this is Carl Yumi here, this time with another video. However, this one is more so gonna be more of a personal rant, if much or anything. Truth is that I've been kind of meaning to make this video around a while, for a good while now. For context, several years ago, I kind of promised a friend that if things were to ever go south with this game, aka if things were to go sour with this game, which is pretty much the reason why this video exists. I'll probably make a video about Rhythm Festival where I'll probably talk about the problems of the game. Now, I made that video when I made that comment towards that friend of mine. I didn't really think that I would ever think that I have the day will come where I have to make this video specifically, but considering how things have gotten worse in like the past few months, especially since with the Steam release of Rhythm Festival, I probably have to do this anyway because again, the more things drag out, the more things have become worse. And while Rhythm Festival over the past 3 years for both Switch, PC, Steam, Xbox, and PS5 have proven to be successful, it's pretty much obvious by now that anyone who has played this game for any amount of time knows that the cracks are pretty much starting to show. And I think at this point, something practically needs to be done anyway. If again, people really want to see this as a serious thing, like the community is serious, Bandai is also serious, but it's pretty much come to the point where, like, again, anyone who has been a fan of anything that is under Bandai knows that Bandai is not really, you know, the one to. Bandai is really the best when it pretty much comes to handling your games post launch, and especially if you practice seeing any Taiko game that's been released in like since 2020. So I'm talking about stuff like Random Mega Adventure Pack, Taiko no Tatsujin, the Drum Master, the game which was delisted last year. Taiko no Tatsujin Raiden Comet, a game that also didn't really last long and only lasted for I believe like a year or so before also being delisted. And the mobile game Pop Tap Beat, which is exclusive to Apple Arcade, and now we have this. However, all those are pretty much its own problem. And to be honest with you, if I was supposed to pretty much list all the sins that Namco has pretty much did for Taiko over like the last few years, that would be way too much. So probably that's gonna get its own video. However, this video is gonna talk about something serious that I think really needs to be fixed for a while now. And anyone who has played this game for like any amount of time knows what the problem is. So what's the problem, Max? Well, more so than multiplayer, because I'm going to be honest with you. Compared to Drum and Fun, while that game's single player content wasn't the best, especially with the song picks, especially after the DLC, one thing that Drum and Fun really excelled well was the multiplayer department, where again there was actual incentive for you to go online and play with other people. Because I remember during like the time that COVID came around, Namco introduced the update for German Fund that added tournaments and private battles for people, private rooms for people. So again, people could come around. People are doing streams where they'll join up for tournaments, and that was pretty much a fun time. People could come no matter the skill level, and everyone pretty much all had fun. And if you just wanted something private, that's where private battles were for you, and that was pretty much a fun time. But unfortunately, you can no longer buy you can no longer buy drum and fun. Which again, if you're in the United States, you probably already know that if you, especially if you keep up with social media. The reason why I'm bringing this all up is because Dondoko Town in Random Festival, I'm going to be honest with you, this mod is pretty much just a disappointment. For being one of the most that was showcased or advertised in Random Festival, both for Switch and PC, by the way, it kind of is lacking. And to be honest with you, this mode specifically kind of practically killed online for Taiko. But for this one, I'm probably gonna have to give a bit more context because again, you probably may not know what really happened, especially if you bought this game recently and like you realize that no one's really playing anymore. Like, let me just show my random game real quick. As you can see right here, if I click my friends list, there's only like what, two people playing the game. And if I go into my friends list, yep, not even on there. So at this point, you're probably wondering to yourself, well, what exactly happened? Why is no one really playing this mode anymore? And I'm just gonna pretty much save you the details. So TLDR, Namco fucked up in like more ways than one. But to do that, it's probably gonna I'm probably have to give you guys a good amount of context. So I'm gonna give you like a timeline of events of what exactly happened and why no one really kind of plays ranked anymore. So flashback to 2023 when this game came out for Switch. This was, I believe, 2 years before the Steam version came out. When this game came out for Switch, it was a bit different than what it was in Drum Fan, because in Drum Fan, what you could do was for that game's rank, every difficulty had its own league. So we had easy league, normal league, hard league, and Oni league. Ura was shared with Oni league. So if you pick Only League, you have a chance to play Ura songs, and every month you'll be given a selection of songs from German songs that you had to play. If you play the certain amount of songs that will rotate, I believe it was every 2 weeks or so. If you played a certain amount of songs and reach a certain quota, you will get a new Namco original song, which was actual really good incentive for people to actually play. So even if you didn't want to replay all the songs, as long as you pretty much got the songs and at least play them once, you don't have to win, by the way. As long as you played it once full, you didn't quit whatsoever, it will do so. And after it accumulates and you get their total quota, you can pretty much not pretty much play for the rest of the month. That's how simple things was. And then starting with Taiko no Tatsujin, the drum master, it was changed slightly a bit, but to be honest with you, with how this game treats its rank, I'd probably say the Xbox game handled it a little bit better because it more so changed it as in like they pretty much grouped all the difficulties together as in separate, which kind of was a bit of a bummer. But to be fair, that game allowed you to select your difficulty as in like when you start the game and click online for the first time, the game tells you that you have like, hey, you have three difficulties to choose from. If you pick C, if you pick rank C, you starting easy. If you pick rank B, you starting hard. If you pick rank A, then you start. Wait, if you pick rank C, you starting easy. If you pick rank B, you starting normal. If you pick rank A, you starting hard. However, you couldn't choose only from the get go. You had to play hard league first, so you have to pick rank A, and then you have to rank up 2 times, and then you reach only, which would be rank S. So again, a bit, a bit as slightly stuff was changed, but it wasn't really as bad as how Rhythm Festival did. So what did Rhythm Festival do? Well, I'm pretty sure you heard of the phrase that is the aim broke, don't fix it. So what did Namco do in all the glory? They completely revamped it, and I'm going to be honest with you, they completely revamped it in the worst way possible. So, first things first, you probably have to go over the rules. So, first thing first, the new rules are no matter your difficulty level, especially when it comes to Taiko, you're always gonna have to start on easy difficulty. First off, this was a huge turn off for many people because, especially if you're in the Taiko scene, you know that a lot of people they don't like to play on the easy difficulty, especially like most of the hardcore players, like they mostly play extreme era songs. So again, where you're pretty much forcing everyone to play on the easy baby difficulty, it's gonna be a problem. And that was only like are part of the problem because again, if you are played Taiko for like any sort of time, you will realize that easy and normal difficulty the way that it is in Taiko really makes it hard for you to really do anything online. Because here's the thing: normally, other rhythm games like easy and normal, your timing windows aren't really as lenient as Taiko's. For example, like you can play something like Samna de Amigo, or you know Sama de Amigo, or Hasune Miku Pro de Diva, and on the easy difficulties you're not gonna get perfect. But Taiko is designed in a way that like when you play easy or normal difficulty, you're most likely gonna get perfect on your first try. Like you don't even need to like try hard, because again the difficulty is that lenient. So again, it kind of created this meta where like both easy and normal players were able to get DFCs from the get go. So again, the meta was to basically play and play perfectly and pretty much abuse drum rolls wherever possible. So it created this meta where people didn't want to play, because again, it pretty much created situations where I'm pretty sure you might have had this, but like you might have had a situation where like you DFC the song, your opponent didn't DFC the song, but yet they pretty much abused the drum roll so much thanks to the button control scheme, or maybe tackle force, whichever control scheme they're playing with, to the point where that it pretty much offset your OKs and you got the win, while the person who played perfectly was penalized for trying your hardest. And considering the fact that again you can't choose your difficulty, which I need to remind you, this game doesn't allow you to choose your difficulty for whatever reason. So you have to fight your way from rank C, B minus, B plus, normal, A minus, A plus, hard. And then you finally get to S. So you're gonna have to do a lot of grinding. And back then, I wouldn't say it wasn't really that hard to rank up, because again, you found players at a pretty good place. But now, though, considering how long it takes to find someone just to play, it's not really worth it at all. Especially when you consider the fact that, for one, it takes a long time to find people, and no one really wants to play anymore. Because, again, I'm sorry, but no one is just gonna sit there grinding for hours on end just to get a rank that they're probably not even going to stay there for long. Because another feature that this game introduced was that at the end of every month your rank will reset, and if you lose a certain amount of points and if you didn't play that much, especially after you reach a new rank, you fall down a difficulty tier and then have to work your way up that tier again. I know why they did it. Again, it's not exclusive to Red Festival. Games like Sonic Racing Questles has this, but again, it's kind of sort of annoying on top of what players already have to deal with for this ranked mode. So now players are pretty much in a situation where they don't really want to play online anymore, and everyone's pretty much focused on Taiko mode. Because again, with the way that online is, there's practically no incentives to play. I mean, there's no tournaments, and Switch version doesn't have private battles. Yeah, for some reason, private battle private battles are only exclusive to the other versions of the game. So like Steam, PS5, and it's not on Switch, which probably has the most highest install base and the most people after PC. Because again, people just wanted this game on PC, and Namco fulfilled that, which is nice. But I feel like they shot themselves in the foot. So when this game released on Steam, people were a bit hopeful that things will change specifically for the online scene. However, we were hopeful, and while they did deliver on the promise and give us an actually good game on Taiko for PC, again, rest in peace, Xbox Taiko. Unfortunately, they kind of shot themselves in the foot. You see, during the build up to the release of Rhythm Festival on Steam, it was sadly announced that there will be no crossplay whatsoever. So, any chances of this mode being saved was practically thrown in the trash. So, not already it was already bad enough that you couldn't even find matches, but like you can't even connect to other systems anymore. And honestly, this is kind of sad, because again, it pretty much creates a situation where people couldn't connect to other consoles and pretty much play, and people could only play with the only same console. So again, If you're on Switch or PC, at least you could find someone because again, those are like the two consoles with the highest amount of people playing the game. And if you got something on, like, let's say you got something for Rhythm Festival on Steam or Xbox or PS5, then you're probably out of luck, especially for Xbox, because again, I don't know why they even consider releasing Rhythm Festival for Xbox when Xbox really isn't the player base for Taiko. Like, I will appreciate them for like releasing another Taiko game on Xbox, but to be honest with you, I don't think anyone was gonna rush for an Xbox just to play Taiko. And even then, Xbox is not really the console for this type of game. So, with that being said, that's pretty much the situation. And honestly, around none of why no one really plays ranked in the festival anymore because, to be honest with you, it's really that bad. Like, there's no incentive anymore. There's no incentive. And even though the game tries to bury you up with treasure battles, which something that the game introduces, which as you can see right here, the treasure battles, which if you win 5 ranked matches, the game will give you stuff. But from what I've seen and played, it's like you get random skins and random titles for your mind on. Again, there is a reason why when I did the video where I showcase everything for customization, which to be fair, I can't need to update that video again because some costume sets were added last year, so I'll probably need to make a video where I update that again. But yeah, even though they try to bar you up with these, to be honest with you, you're probably not even gonna like reach that many battles for you to be earning a gula of these. So it pretty much comes to a point where even the community doesn't know every single lockable thing you get in the game from online. In base game, there is a list, however, it's kind of really hard to find and requires you to go into a certain Discord server to even get it. So yeah, good luck finding everything you can pretty much unlock in this game that is not on the Taiko rewards map. So yeah, that's pretty much the situation for now. It's kind of really hard how the current state of Rhythm Festival is, especially after 3 years. Again, I was kind of skeptical of this game since the beginning, and I did kind of remember where I kind of made a Reddit post saying that I wasn't too sure of this game and if it was gonna try very well. And while some people did say that I was like over worried or over exaggerating things, and I said, okay, fine, I'll give this game the benefit of the doubt. And that was like back when this game came out, which was like 2020. That was 2023, and now 2022, and then now a few years later, seeing the current state of this game and then it's just pretty much disappointing. And don't get me wrong, it's not like I hate this game or anything because let me make this clear. I know that there are a bunch of people on YouTube now who have really become contrarians for like views and stuff when they realize that my channel's not getting views, so I have to make this game that I love into a video that I pretty much bash the game for views and stuff like that. And I'm not really one of those people. Again, I'm doing this out of genuine concern because again, if I didn't really care about Rhythm Festival, I would probably make like a video saying that, hey guys, I'm probably gonna play it again. But again, I just came back and I'm still making songs for this game daily. That's how I love this game. But sometimes you have to like put your foot down and say, you know what, this is not it. This is not the game series that I know from the company that I know does well. Because again, I know that Namco has pretty much made great tackle games. Again, Drum Session and Drummerthon are examples of how Namco can really make a great product, especially if they try. But with the way that things are right now, there's no incentive for you. No, there's no incentive for any players to really do anything outside of Taiko mode. And yes, this even goes to Taiko line because Again, while Taiko Line is fine on its own, the only modes that I really do have a problem with are running your dojo because again, reading anything on a stream is a mess. And while Dundon Fitness is fine on its stuff, I mean it's good for a workout session and all, but it's okay. The modes that I pretty much have a problem with are Don Man because again they didn't really update that many songs for it whatsoever. It's still 20, and by the time that you do the story mode, which gives you 16 songs in addition to the 4 you you start with, you practically played everything. And when they tell you to pretty much play 15 times to get 50, by the way, to get everything, it kind of gets boring. So my problem with Rhythm Festival right now is that the single player content is amazing. I mean, it's easily one of the best things out there, but like in terms of like multiplayer content, I'm going to be honest with you. It's probably one of the weakest, well, not weakest, but weaker titles in the series. Because again, I know there are going to be some people who come to the defense and say that, oh, well, I do multiplayer. I do the multiplayer stuff and the side stuff in Taika, which is fine. But like, one thing I've kind of sort of realized, especially being in this fandom, is that most of the time the fandom mostly cares about like the solo stuff in Taiko rather than the multiplayer stuff. And what I mean by solo stuff, I mean like regular Taiko Tatsujin content, like what songs are coming to the game, when can I play them, and even then, if people are going to like focus on like side stuff in side stuff in Taiko, it's usually reserved for the arcades with like Dining Jojo, AI Battle, and like getting the full arcade experience. And while, yeah, sure, arcade Taiko has its own problems, like the dumps not being maintained and the car centers being botched, at least then you can still get like the better experience there. And it's pretty much just come to this sad state where because of Bound and Namco's negligence, especially on Taiko in recent years, we pretty much just come to a point where both the consoles and arcades are suffering. So Taiko players are now in this stalemate where they can't really do much, and the only thing that they could pretty much do right now is just hope and pray that something happens. And honestly, that's pretty much the situation right now. Because again, we have a game where the only thing I pretty much do is the single player content because online and multiplayer is an afterthought. And then in the arcades, you can't even enjoy the game that you work hard during the weekend, the weekdays, and take time off to go to a round one or something, and then you pay for a cab that you can't even play because again, the drums don't register the hits. And in Taiko, if the drums don't register the hits and you miss, you're not going to clear anything. So again, you're probably going to be frustrated. So you might as well be spending your money for nothing. And it's just kind of frustrating. Again, I know that this was like mostly a rant, and again, stuff like this drives negativity and more eyes on you for better and for worse. But I feel like it was time at least there someone talked about this to some capacity. Again, I'm not really mostly like a guy who drags on way too much in the game. Again, I'm usually chill with like games and do try to give them a chance. But again, if I'm really like disappointed with a game, I'll really like voice out my concerns. And I'm gonna be honest to you, out of all the games that I've owned since then, this is probably the game that has really disappointed me in recent years. And I know that there have been like bunch of games that end up being disappointing, like that are initially hyped, like Super Monkey Ball, Banana Rumble, and stuff like that. But at least those games, they managed to make it up, in some way, shape, or form. But the fact that this game hasn't really like improved at all outside of like stuff. Like again, I'm not gonna like discredit everything Rhythm Festival has going. Again, I'm not gonna like discredit the updates or anything, but like the fact that it took them like almost nearly 2 years for like a search function and like basic stuff that should have already been in the game is just inexcusable, man. Like I'm sorry, but that's gonna be enough for me, dog. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to say for this video. This was not meant to be more so like a positive thing. It was more so meant to be like a current thoughts video. So yeah, it might have been a bit rambling all over the place, and I might have made some mistakes, but I hope I got my point across. So yeah, thank you guys, thank you guys so much for hearing me out, and I hope you have a good day, afternoon, or evening, and hopefully the next time I have to talk about something, it will probably be in a positive light. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. All right, bye.